Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.
Yes, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Nathan back with another video presentation. This is episode 5, season 6 of the podcast. Hope everyone's off to a great week. Hope everybody's staying safe. I do apologize for not going on late on last night. Was just tired after work. This is supposed to be Tuesday's episode, but today's Wednesday, obviously. In this episode, we're going to focus on the NFC West. And then I'm going to get into Mr. Kyler Murray because Mr. Kyler Murray's agent came out and he said some stuff wrote a very, very thoughtful letter, open letter, one about the committing of one Kyler Murray, and I have the issue with that. Major League Baseball could not come to an agreement until the first time in 27 years. The first opening day is canceled. No games. Maryland, the Wizards played the Pistons last night. We won 116-113 miraculously. Maryland, we got two more. The men got 2 more games. We play Minnesota tonight. We got Michigan State this weekend, Sunday. And then the ladies, they're on a double bye week until the 4th because today actually starts the new the Big Ten tournament. So I'm excited for that. So it's the first round of it. So we don't play until round 3, and it's ever who the real quick. Let me just double check that. It's ever, I think, who wins between Iowa and who wins. Hold on. Wait, I don't want to give you guys the wrong thing. Where is it? Yeah, so the winner, whoever between Penn State and Rutgers plays Indiana. Whoever wins that game plays us Friday at 1. So, and then I have an announcement with March Madness. Again, Towson Basketball, free agency, athletes limited. I'm probably going to hold off. I might, depending on time. So, and then I have completed. I'm going to give my feedback on Athletes Unlimited, what I thought for the basketball season. And then I have completed my first mock draft 1.0. This is just who I think each team should consider taking. And then the WNBA is at a crossroads. So let's get into it. So we're going to start with obviously football, the NFC West. Couple things. The Arizona Cardinals, they started off 7-0, and they finished It was disappointing to see how Kyler Murray wet the bed in the playoffs. I understand they didn't have DeAndre Hopkins. I understand he had a plethora of injuries from Chase Edmonds was hurt. AJ Green, that didn't really pan out. James Conner was hurt. I understand that. I'm looking at a couple things. Chandler Jones, I know, is going to look to get paid. Zach Ertz, who I thought was a big pickup, and they got midseason for trade. I know AJ Green's going to be a free agent. Christian Kirk will probably stay. Chase Edmonds could probably stay. They got some decisions to make. They only got a little under $2.5 billion in cap space. Not a lot. I really think we need to really focus. They need to focus on really getting Kyler Murray an offensive line because I need to focus on that. And they got to get some play. They got to get some dynamic receivers. Said the same thing about Lamar Jackson, because there's guys that just play one. They just have a certain style, and I'm looking at theirs on the Cardinals too. They don't really, besides DeAndre Hopkins, they don't really have anybody else. I like Christian Kirk. I like Rondé Moore, but they need another like a Larry Fitzgerald, like or an Anquan Bolden, maybe like a Michael Floyd type wide receiver. They need something like that because if you look, like when they played against the Rams, look at how their offenses were. They need to figure out what their identity is going to be going forward. Now, as far as Kyler Murray, I will get into that in a little bit, but they have the 23rd overall pick. I want to say they really should invest looking at probably the corners. They could definitely buff up their I'd say really they could take anyone on the offensive line. And I would say they're probably going to have to rebuild that defensive line too. They got some choices to make. Because Zay Collins, rookie, he had an okay year, and Isaiah Simmons is truly not really a linebacker to me. They didn't really I don't think they really got the results they were looking for. So I really think that the Cardinals, we'll see. The 49ers. Biggest thing for me, we're gonna do about Jimmy Garoppolo. You know, I gotta pick my pride off the floor here, and I sat here and was on the bandwagon for why they should have went to the Super Bowl. That didn't happen. I do feel like he is a guy that will get your team. He's a game manager. He's not somebody that I can really trust in certain situations. I like Deebo Samuel. He's got a future. I think he's going to be a definitely. They're going to get his dynamic play. They're going to utilize that more. I'm not sold on Trey Lance yet. I'm not comfortable giving, and now going into his second year, the reins, because to me, because remember you traded for Trey Lance, and he's shown flashes. Don't get me wrong, he has shown flashes, but I'm not sold. I just don't see it. Now they have a little under $9 million in what according to Spot Track, excuse me, to be projected. Now they have some free agents that may have to go. They're probably going to have to. They'll probably keep a couple. Well, some will have to go. The biggest two I saw that could be potential cuts. Maybe you could probably get D Ford to restructure his contract, and then if you're going to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, now they're going to have to find. I was really strongly suggest they buff up their defense, particularly at the corners and the safeties. I know they got hit with the injury bug in the backfield this past season. I think if they can buff that up, I think San Francisco will be okay. They could possibly look for another. Like I said, they could build really, honestly and truthfully, offensive line. There's nothing really else when I look at San Francisco's team to really say rebuild. I think they got to just plug some holes and probably get some guys get the guys that they need healthy back next season. You're probably going to you'll find a diamond in the rough in the draft. Because they have the sixth, they don't have a first round pick, so they have I think it's like in the third round. It's the 60th pick, 61st pick. Let me just make sure I saw that right. It's like the 66 first, because that's going to suck. But I mean, I've seen worse. I believe that's the third. I believe that is the third round. No, the second round. So they have a second round, 2/3, a fourth, fifth, and a sixth. They can make something work with that. They can. But I think the biggest thing is, what are you going to do about Jimmy Garoppolo? I think that's the biggest thing. Do you move on from him? Do you keep him? Do you say, well, let's run it back one more time? Because I don't know. I think people, they're done. They're done with Jimmy. The Rams. My agenda? No, I'm just kidding. Cooper, it's going to be tough to repeat as a Super Bowl champion. I'm a believer. There's no such thing as a Super Bowl hangover. I truly think that it's so hard to repeat again, because that target's on your back. And remember, when you win a championship, there are guys that obviously are going to test the free agency. Teams are going to tremendously overpay for a certain talent. It's documented. You can't really keep everybody. Like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers ran it back with all their starters, but it's tough because as the season progressed, I mean, just think about the physical and mental strain. Look at the Kansas City Chiefs. At some point, they can't keep all those guys together. And you got to think about that too. That's money that's you can't pay everybody. You're going to have to make some tough choices. Now, the trade for Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford, in the end, it worked. Why? Because the Rams got their Super Bowl and they're good. However, I think in the long term, I do think that the trade will come back to hurt them, because they don't have a first round pick until 2024. So, and also too, you don't know what Matthew Stafford's going to be like next year, if he's going to stay or resign. Odell Beckham Jr. will probably look to stay, but he's probably going to get some money. You're going to have to figure out what you're going to do about Von Miller. They have a little under $9 million. They will have a little under $9 million in the projected cap, according to Spot Track. They got a free agent. They can't keep everybody. Some guys are going to feel themselves. I don't know. Von Miller could take a pay cut. Who knows? Maybe Odell will take a pay cut. Who knows? I know he's come off ACL injury. I didn't really see, like, on their roster what they could do. Andre Wentworth, the oldest left tackle in the game, has one more year on his $30 million on his 3-year deal worth $30 million. He could opt out, and that would save the Rams $15.5 million. I don't see that. I think he's going to run it back one more year and then retire. That's what I think. It looks like it sounds like Sean McVay's going to come back. Aaron Donald may come back. Who knows? I just don't see it. I don't see it. And then on top of that, like, they can pretty much just start building, like, the offensive line. They're going to find a left tackle, try to develop a left tackle after Whitworth. Probably find someone to take Aaron Donald's position once he calls it a career. And maybe, and also to look at a corner. I don't know what they're going to do about Jalen Ramsey. I don't know. This is just an example on top of my head. I'm not saying trade them, but they can really just plug where there's holes, because they only have a compensatory 3rd round pick, a 5th round pick, and then 2 7th round picks. They virtually ain't got nothing in the draft. So, And then painfully, we got to talk about those Seattle Seahawks. Oh my gosh. Russell Wilson is staying with the Seattle Seahawks.
Guaranteed.
The biggest issue that I have is that they got a boatload of free agents, and two of them are his that stood out to me are his blind side and his right tackle, Dwayne Brown and Brandon Shell. Others I noticed Rashard Penny won, Alex Collins, though he didn't really pan out. Joe Everett, he actually had a couple decent games. They might re-sign him. Quadre Diggs, they'll probably keep him. Bobby Wagner, all depends if he wants to take if he want. I could see him being a cap casualty unless he restructure his deal, because I really truly think I just don't see the Seahawks what they are the way this team is, because one, when you have we have been saying it for the past couple years, they need to really invest in an offensive line and really truly get him some help. I mean, Tyler Lockett's help, DK Metcalf, he shows tendencies, but I don't see it. I mean, I think he's a good wide receiver, but his productivity from this year to last year kind of went down. I don't understand that. They didn't really, their running game never really got going after Chris Carson went down with his injury. And that defense, they finally got out that cover 3 defense. It was about time. But other than that, they don't have a true identity. And Russell Wilson has been carrying this team for quite some time. I just feel like they're going to have to really figure out, okay, Russ goes to his agency, and he goes to the front office and say, hey, look, I want to stay, but I need this done. And that's going to put them, that's going to put Seattle in a position like, oh, we can try, but X, Y, and Z. No. Offensive line, I'm not saying bring back Legion of Boom, but try to develop that pass rush and try to really get the run game going. They need a lot. When I mean a lot, I mean they only have, I think they have a second round pick, and that's it. They don't have it. They have a second round pick, a third, fourth, fifth, and the seventh. So they got to hit. They got to find something in the draft. Those are my 3 areas I think they could fix: offensive line, edge, and corner. But other than that, they have the cap. They have a little under $40 million in cap. I know Bobby Wagner, he makes the most besides Russ, but they'll probably ask him, would you mind taking a pay cut? So it's going to be an interesting offseason for the Seattle Seahawks. And which now brings me to my next topic. Kyler Murray's agent, I says Kyler Murray agent, I'm sorry, wrote this very, very thoughtful letter. His name is Eric Burkhardt. And in this letter, he's pretty much saying that he wants to be direct and loyal with the Arizona Cardinals. He wants to be your long-term quarterback, and he desperately wants to win the Super Bowl. Okay, I'm all for that. And this letter, he goes on about a bunch of other things and different things like that. Action speaks louder than words in this volatile business. Kyler remains hopeful that the organization chooses to commit so that he can continue to lead the Cardinals to further success and value for many years to come. Now, first and foremost, I listen. I'm a fan of Kyler Murray. I am. I don't have anything against him. Kyler Murray hasn't done anything in this league to deserve that kind of power. He has not. He had an abysmal performance in the playoffs. We could talk about they didn't have this, they didn't have that. But, one thing that's so amazing to me, we got to stop. We got to move on from this. Well, we got to look at Cliff Kingsbury. First and foremost, everything can't always be on the coach. Okay? Yeah, I didn't like the hiring. But you know what? At the end of the day, they were 7-0 the first half of the year. They didn't make the adjustments in the second half, and they got it. And they showed who we thought they were. The Cardinals are a great team, but Kyler Murray, if this was a quarterback that was like 7-8 years in, had a couple playoff, had a couple, MVPs, maybe a ring, I could understand that. But I kind of look at it like this too. I got to see more from Kyler before I can commit. He's 3 years into the league, and you're telling me I have to commit now, long term? I don't like that. That's almost that kind of shows entitlement. I think he's a great player, but let's not sit here and act like, oh my gosh, they're going to make a big mistake if they don't re-sign him. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. They say we said what people say about Lamar Jackson. Well, Lamar Jackson is a dynamic player, but Lamar Jackson can do this. But there's always a but with Lamar. But with Kyler Murray, there's always these excuses for him, and there's never, well, Kyler, maybe you need to take a look at yourself in the mirror, because he hasn't won an MVP. He hasn't he hasn't won a playoff game. He hasn't done anything. He's a good quarterback, and I think he's going to have a bright future. But this notion, but you come out, get 3 years into your career, and you want me to commit to you long term, I'm all for that. But come talk to me when you've, shown that you can lead my team to the playoffs. Because unfortunately, quarterbacks, they get all the praise, they're going to get all the criticism. And the Cardinals, they didn't have a good team. They're not off the hook neither. I'm not going to some of that goes on coaching, but most of it goes on players too. They were 7-0 last year, and he kind of had a disappearing act. Let's not forget that. So I think he does come across as a bit entitled, a little bit. I didn't like that. I didn't like that letter at all, especially publicly, because what you're pretty much saying is that he's not happy in Arizona. To me, that's what the letter came across to me as. He's not happy. And he wants long-term dollars like today. Let's transition to news around the NFL. Kyle Rudolph got released by the Giants. Bruce Arians made some comments about Tom Brady. I thought they're talking about the draft because there's coaches at the draft, at the combine, and there was a question about Tom Brady. Some things that were said I thought was a little like, oh, okay. As far as Louis Riddick got interviewed by the Steelers, Matt Ryan, don't really know what's going to end up going up with him. Jimmy Garoppolo is supposed to have shoulder surgery. The Packers, Bucks, Cardinals, Jags, and the Saints are all going to be playing international games. So we're going to have 5 teams. Those 5 teams go overseas and play. Now, as far as my mock draft, I'm want to give a quick shout out to Nick Rosario. This upcoming weekend, we're going to work on a mock draft together. This is going to be our 1.0 NFL mock draft, pretty much going off of what we think each team should take. We are taking into account that there were trades made. So Amari Cooper, there's rumors that he could be traded. I saw a trade. It was on Twitter where the Ravens would trade Marcus Peters and a pick for Amari Cooper. Bullshit. Makes no sense. Now, the NFL Competition Committee is discussing possible changes to overtime after the Buffalo Bills and the Kansas City Chiefs game, which I think is stupid because, again, I don't think we understand this when if Kansas City didn't score on that possession, Buffalo would have got the ball back. The next score, if you're going to stop on defense, you get the ball back and you win the game. That's how overtime works, ladies and gentlemen. That's what they tried to do. Well, okay, they scored. Now it's your turn. No, Buffalo did not. If you look back at that, it was because I think everybody is somewhat still in their feelings. I'm not calling out anyone with the Bills, but I think some people are in their feelings about how the game ended, and people forget to understand there's something called defense and getting stops, and that's something Buffalo did not do. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. That's pretty much it as far as the news. Ali Marpet, after 7 years, Tampa Bay Buccaneer Pro Bowler, or offensive lineman, he's retiring. Hey, I wish him all the best future endeavors. I've never played football, but it's physically and it's a mental strain on you. So I wish him all the best going forward. I'm pretty sure that he'll probably get like an assistant coaching job or something with the Bucs. Who knows? You never know. That's pretty much it around the NFL. Let's transition to, painfully, Major League Baseball. First and foremost, let me say this as a baseball fan, as an Oriole fan, I am hurt. I am very disappointed that a deal cannot be made. I think it's a shame that the way the MLB tried to make the Players Association look bad, basically deflect blame. I thought that was disgusting. And that pretty much there was no offer. They pretty much were, look, this is, you either take it or leave it. I definitely do have to put I understand with Rob Manfred. I am not a fan of him. I will be the first to admit that because of his comments, particularly calling the World Series championship a piece of metal. I think he definitely is a remnant of the Bud Selig tree. I just really feel like I'm really hurt as a baseball fan. I really am. I was really hopeful that they would get a deal done. And 27 years later, since 1994, there's a work stoppage. And opening day,
so when are we going to say something about it? You know what? I'm going to walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm going to say something that might get me in trouble because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
You know, I have the Players Association. I'll listen. I'm gonna be fair. They're playing catch up because they pretty much was it 2016. They pretty much had no leg to stand on. Now they're playing catch up. I commend what they're doing, but I was not comfortable with the fact that the players that you had I think 5 of the representatives for the players are Scott Boras clients, And I don't have anything against Scott Boras, but it's just something about that made no sense to me. Then Rod Mansford, I thought it was really egregious for him to be in front of a camera smiling. I do, and I know you may say, like, Nathan, we're at day 90, but I just don't know what to feel. I don't. I mean, they met for 16 hours Tuesday, and then they had till 5 p.m. And I'm sitting here going like, oh my gosh, okay. They still could not have come. They couldn't come to an agreement on anything. The luxury tax threshold, they didn't budge on that. They made some changes, but it pretty much was like the expanded postseason. I don't get it. I really don't understand. And like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, if I really don't feel. I feel like I really want to go on a fast and not eat until Major League Baseball and the Players Association comes to an agreement. I know that may sound stupid. I know that may sound crazy, but I don't think both sides realize that who hurts the most are the fans, and they're left out of it. I do. I'm pissed. I really am. Let me transition. Unsung African American heroes in sports, where I highlight a player, coach, or executive that may have made an impact in the game in sports. And this week we're focusing on the great Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome, former football player for the Cleveland Browns. Also, he was an executive. He started as a scout for the Browns pro personnel, and then he became executive VP and player personnel for the Baltimore Ravens after he moved from Cleveland in 1996. From 2002, he became the first African American general GM in the NFL from 2010 until 2018, and he stepped down. Now he is an executive VP for player personnel. Eric DaCosta took his spot. His last pick, ironically, was I want to say Ben Powers. No, that was Mo Gabba's pick. Hold on, let me look. Who was his last pick? I can't remember who his last pick was off the top of my head. Because that 2018 draft class was actually probably the best that we had. It was Zach Sealer. Yeah, he didn't stay that long because he went to Miami and he's been playing really well ever since then. A couple things about Ozzie. He went to the University of Alabama. During his time as a Crimson Tide, 42-6 his whole 4 seasons. His entire college career, 102 receptions for 2,070 yards and 16 touchdowns. He was Alabama Player Decade of the 1970s. He's also a 2-time SEC player, 1976, 1977, SEC Lineman of the Year in 1977. And also, he's also in the College Football Hall of Fame. He was drafted in the first round, the 23 overall pick in the 1978 draft by the Cleveland Browns. He was Rookie of the Year. He also made the all 1980s decade team. Excuse me. I'm sorry. He was the Browns Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year. He made the Pro Bowl in 1981, 84, 85. He's also in the Ring of Honor. He made the first team All-Pro twice in 1979, 1984. and 4-time All-Pro, second All-Pro, 1980, 81, 83, 85. He did not play in the Super Bowl. They did make the playoffs the 7 times he was there. They did go to the AFC Championship, but were never getting into the Hall of Fame. Now, he was inducted into the Hall of Fame in 1999. He finished his career with 662 receptions for 7,980 yards. That's a franchise record for the Cleveland Browns, and 47 touchdowns. Then he went into the front office for Cleveland until 1996 when they came to Baltimore. And 2002, he was named the first African-American GM. At that time, that was actually before the Rooney Rule was put in place. So we all know he was a part of the build of the 2000 Ravens team, and then also to the 2012, Baltimore Ravens. We beat the San Francisco 49ers. So Ozzie Newsome, I can't tell you what a job that he's done for this franchise. There were a lot of hiccups, particularly after the first Super Bowl. I thought it was a mistake. We drafted Kyle Bowler, but that's neither here nor there. I definitely thought it was a miss on Travis Taylor. There are a lot of guys. I look back on that and like, wow, this is who we had. Like, wow, okay. So I'm really glad. I'm happy. When it was announced that he would step down and Eric DeCosta took over, I was hurt. I really was. But Eric DeCosta, he's learned. I think he's going to do well. He's going to do wonders for the team. And the front office, very family oriented. Dick Cass is stepping down, and Sashi Brown's coming in. The Ravens have always and always will be in good hands no matter what. So Ozzie Newsome, he's also in the Cleveland Browns Ring of Honor as well. So that is Ozzie Newsome. Let me know what y'all think. Give me some more suggestions, more topics on that segment for Unsung African American Heroes. Now, I might have to cut this episode short because it looks like I'm going to run out of time, and I'm just probably going to give you Maryland basketball, and then I'll come back on later tonight, the WNBA, because I definitely want to talk about that. I might actually just cut off. Well, we'll see. Well, let's transition into the NBA. Where do I begin? So a lot of things did happen. The Wizards did win last night after a loss to the San Antonio Spurs in overtime. Ja Morant is a beast, MVP. Be on the lookout at some point for my top 5 MVPs for the NBA season so far. I do think the Los Angeles Lakers are not making the playoffs. Because I don't see it. I think the way the team is, the way this whole year has been for them, I don't see it. I don't. But let's transition into the Wizards. We beat the Detroit Pistons 116-113. So we were started on a 3-game homestand, and I'll be honest, I was afraid. We finally looked dynamic enough. We finally did something where it just seemed like we have this tendency to just play one style of basketball, and it just seems like, well, give the ball to Kyle Kuzma or KCP, or and just let them take care of it. Now, that's not going to get it done. Porzingis has not played yet. He's still day to day. What Coach Unsung said that he's participating in one-on-one drills, which is fine. Thomas Satoransky's back, so that definitely helps the depth. Until they get Porzingis back, Thomas Bryant, Ish Smith, Rory, Denny, and Thomas coming off the bench. They're all going to have to step up. That's what it's going to have to be. Now, my concern is I don't know what they're going to do because some guys just going to have to lose some minutes. Rory played really well. He did. He took 17 shots. Shot was like 70% from the field. He's been really good from three. I see that they're giving him confidence to shoot the three. I like that. Now, I do know that Denny did get hurt, and he's probably going to be day to day. So, I mean, what I understood it was a contusion, something like that. Now, I was for Satoransky, I was surprised that we got him back. He definitely will help Raul Neto and Ish Smith will take some minutes off them, and he will really give them some depth on defense. And his 3 years that he was here, he did really, really well. Now, I do feel like the games that he did play in New Orleans, I just think it was just style. I think it was just the system. I'll just be honest with you on that. I just don't think it was going to work. I was really surprised we didn't even really we moved on from like that. And then in San Antonio, no. Jeremy Grant. He had 26 points, and Kate Cunningham, he had a poster in this game too. He dunked on Corey Casper, which was very, very embarrassing. But the Wizards are starting to pick it up a little bit, but they just can't. I feel like I saw a different Wizard team going into the fourth quarter, and I like that. They're going to have to figure something out. Now, my concern with this trade with Dinwiddie and Bertans, if you see better offensive production, that says a lot about Coach Unsung and his offensive style of play. It really, really does, because we can't be. That's why I was trying to figure it out. When you hear him come out, I have to dumb the playbook down. That doesn't make any sense to me. So, we'll see. We'll see about it. We do play the Hawks. We are still in 10th behind the Hawks. We're a game behind them. That shouldn't say recap. That should say preview. I'm sorry. I will hold off on that until Friday's episode because they play Fridays at 7. So I will try to recap the game for y'all. I mean, same thing I can say. I think we're getting Satoransky. That I think it's going to help bolster. It's going to bolster some of the defense. I do think it's going to help in the short term with the offense. I'm hoping Porzingis is back to play with Atlanta. I'm hoping. I really am. Other than that, I mean, there really wasn't much as of yesterday. I know Luka, the league rescinded his 13th technical foul. Isaiah Thomas, he signed a 10-day contract with the Hornets. The Lakers, they're going to sign DJ Augustine. I like that pickup for them. And they waived DeAndre Jordan. DeAndre Jordan is supposed to go to Philadelphia. They put a claim for him for Philadelphia. That's pretty much what I saw as of yesterday. I know I tried. This is supposed to be for Tuesday's episode, so there was a couple of things that stood out to me as far as what was going on in the NBA. Now, the other stuff, I'll get all that for you in Friday's episode. What I'm going to do is I'm going to move into Maryland basketball, and then I'm going to cut it all, and I'm going to end. This will be just part 1, episode 5, part 2. I promise you that this episode is going to get back to normal with Friday's episode. I promise you that. Okay, I'm just looking at time. I'm running out of it. So, I'm going to cut this short. The second half, we're just going to strictly focus on the WNBA because there's some things I have of my mock draft, and then the New York Liberty were fined $500,000 because they wanted to make sure that their athletes were treated like athletes. The men, we play Minnesota tonight. It's our final home game. We're 3 wins in the last 4 matchup. We won 3 of the last 4. Try to get above 500. Minnesota, they're 4-14 in the Big Ten. They're 13-14. Biggest things looking against Minnesota, they're 4th in the Big Ten as far as protecting the ball. Their turnover is below, it's like a 0.93. They're behind Iowa, Northwestern, and Wisconsin. Their assisted turnover ratio is 4th behind Iowa, Northwestern, and Purdue. They're also averaging like 12, almost 13 assists, and they're turning the ball over less than 10 times. The Minnesota Gophers, they don't, for some odd reason, they don't produce points. I don't know what that is. They're second to last in offensive production. The last team behind them, I kid you not, is the Penn State Nittany Lions.
What? What? And you got to be kidding me.
I looked at that statistic. I was like, wow. They only put up 68 points per game. Now, how they've won 13 games this year is beyond me. And they're 1 game behind 500. The last 5 games I saw, they've scored 60 and below. That's it. Maryland's offense is a little bit better. We do score around 71 points. We did come off a 15-point win against those Ohio State Buckeyes. If you're Maryland, Fax Russell, Eric Ayala had 50 of our 75 points against Ohio State. Ayala had 23. Last time he had over 20 points was back in January. He's averaging 14 a game. Fax Russell's averaging about 15 a game. Fax Russell, the last few games he's played, has looked really good out there. He's about last 5 games is about 20 points. Now, no, actually, I take it back. He only had 18 against Penn State. But he scored 27 against Ohio State. But nonetheless, I'm looking for them to have a big game. The bench. Xavier Green, Julian Reese, Ian Martinez, only gave me 11 points off the bench.
How do you do that? How do you do that? What the hell is going on?
Points. 8 of those points came from Julian Reese. 8 of those points. Like they show flashes, but oh my God. Oh, like the bench, like I don't really understand that. Like that was against Indiana. The bench against Ohio State only had 2 points. Why? Because Fats Russell and Eric Ayala pretty much did all the work for them. Look, I'm not trying to clown these guys. They have shown flashes, but I don't. It's to me, I think it's confidence, and I think it's Danny Manning not really trusting his bench. Ian Martinez has shown flashes. Julian Reese has shown flashes. They all can play, but I think it's more of confidence, and I don't think it's really giving them the minutes I think they deserve. Okay, now against Minnesota, we're playing against Minnesota. I'm hoping that Danny Manning definitely gives them some opportunities and takes advantage of that. And obviously, with Fats Russell, Eric Ayala, Green, and Simeon Wright, they're seniors. This is it for them. Unfortunately, I'm sad to see them all go because Maryland has, as of today, they have no recruits coming in for next season.
So when are we gonna say something about it? You know what? I'm gonna walk away. I'll be right back because I'm scared I'm gonna say something that might get me in trouble. Because I'm pissed. I'm pissed.
No recruits. So this team next year, I don't know what this team going to look like, but I really pray. I'm really praying. I really do. So they have I really want to see them go off on a high note and finish the year on a high note. The Maryland Terrapins are beating the Minnesota Gophers 85-55.
Guaranteed.
Let's transition to the ladies. They're on the double bye week until the 4th. As of today, starts the Big Ten tournament. We've got Rutgers. They're actually playing right now. The game actually should be almost over. We got Rutgers playing Penn State, and then we got Illinois versus Wisconsin. They play at 3:30, and then Purdue is playing Michigan State tomorrow 10:30. So the winner of the Rutgers and Penn State games will play Indiana, and then Minnesota's playing Northwestern, and the winner of the Wisconsin-Illinois game is going to play number 6 Nebraska. But mind you, the number 1, 2, 3, and 4, Ohio State, Maryland, Iowa, Michigan. The Lady Terps are winning the Big Ten tournament.
Guaranteed.
And then also, I really want to take this opportunity to congratulate the girls. We had six. First and foremost, Caitlin Clark was Big Ten Player of the Year. Congratulations. First team, Grace Berger out of Indiana, Clayton Clark, Monica Castano, Angel Reese, Naz Hillman, Nia Colden, Veronica Burton, Taylor Mikesell, JC Sheldon, Makina Marissa. Second team, Nicole Cardario Hillary, Alexa Gilbert, Mackenzie Holmes, Chloe Bibby, Diamond Miller, Ashley Owansu, Leah Brown, Sarah Scala, Alexis Markowski, and Jazz Shelley. Angel Reese was not a unanimous pick. I have an issue with that.
Bullshit.
But Caitlin Clark, Naz Hillman, Nia Colden, Victoria Burton, J.C. Shelton. Did we not see? Never mind. You know what? That's okay. That's okay. I see. It's all right. Honorable mentions: Aaliyah Nye, Allie Patterberg, McKenna Warnock, Katie Benson, Matilda Elk, Isabel Bourne, Sam Helby, Courtney Shaw, Abby Ellis, Madison Layden, Janae Terry, Oshia Brown, and Julie Popslavasia. I know I butchered that. And then the all-defensive team, Nicole Cadarno Hillary, Angel Reese, Naz Hillman, Veronica Burton was unanimous, and J.C. Shelton. What are we? Okay. And then all freshman team: Cheyenne Sellers, University of Maryland, Layla Perfilia, Matilda Elk, Alexis Markanowski, Leilani Keprinanis. Defensive Player of the Year, Victoria Burton. Freshman of the Year, Alexis Markanowski. Sixth Player of the Year, Cheyenne Sellers. And Kim Barnes Araco, Coach of the Year from Michigan. Congratulations to the Big Ten. Now, there's other conferences I will, in the future episodes of the podcast, I will announce them. That's a lot of conferences. But because Maryland is my team, Big Ten, I had to great work, ladies. Brenda Fries should have got some consideration because of all the injuries that she had to deal with, but that's okay. We're gonna let it go. Now, really quick, I do have some beef with Iowa's head coach. Really quick, I definitely do want to play that clip for y'all because I have an issue with what was said, especially discrediting what Aaliyah Boston has done in the game. I definitely think it was a slap in the face to take shots. I'm going to show you. Just give me 1 second. Here is the video. I'm going to share my screen, and you can hear what she says. I thought it was a lot. I don't really understand this notion of why you would take a shot at saying that you're discrediting. Well, we don't have all Big Ten players, so my player has to work with less. So I'm gonna play it.
That she is, and there's a lot of great players. There's a lot of great players around America, no doubt. And I'm sure their coaches feel just as strongly about them as I do about Caitlin. But Caitlin is in a situation.
Hold on. Why isn't that? I want to share it to where. Okay, here we go.
No doubt that she is. And there's a lot of great players. There's a lot of great players around America, no doubt. And I'm sure their coaches feel just as strongly about them as I do about Caitlin. But Caitlin is in a situation where she has the ball in her hands all the time. And when you have the ball in their hands all the time, you can make an impact in the game. You can also mess it up. And so there's a lot of responsibility with that. And she has a direct effect on the game when she's out there. I mean, there's nobody that has, Megan was player of the year, but Megan didn't have to bring the ball down the floor. And Megan was awesome, But when you're a post player, you don't have the ball in your hands near as much as when you're a point guard. So point guards have a lot more responsibility, and that's why one of the reasons I think she has made more impact on our team as an individual than other people that we're talking about for this Big Ten or for the National Player of the Year. We have great people around Caitlin. We have great basketball players. We don't have 10 All-Americans, though, like some people do. And there is a difference on that. We play as a team, and we are very, very proud of that. But we don't have 10 All-Americans like other players do.
And you don't see anybody else in the country.
The reason I think she has made more impact on our team as an individual than other people that we're talking about for this Big Ten or for the National Player of the Year.
You see that? Like right there. You see what she's doing? She decides to take subliminal shots at Aaliyah Boston in South Carolina while saying, well, she's around Big Ten players. And look at Caitlin Clark. Caitlin has the ball in her hands, and pretty much discrediting, well, they're not, what's around Caitlin isn't good enough compared to what's around Leah. Coach, with all due respect, I respect her. I do. But maybe you should really, really, truly, honestly consider how you're recruiting players. May I remind you, when Dawn Staley took over South Carolina, she's working with unranked players, JOCO players. She's built that program from the gutter. And on top of that, she's also been a support of Caitlin Clark. Why can't you do that for the same? We're simply saying, because let me ask you a question. Are we going to really discredit what Aaliyah Boston is doing? If you look at her numbers statistically, she's improved from last season. If you take Aaliyah Boston off that roster, South Carolina is not the same, in my opinion. But it just seems like, to me, you're kind of, well, I don't have this, and this is what I have to work with. Consider her to be player of the year. She just does so much for our team. Not taking any shots at Caitlin Clark. I think Caitlin Clark is going to be a great. I'm telling you, that next year's class for the WNBA is going to be stacked. However, I just have beef. My issue is that you take subliminal shots and go, we don't have 10 All-Americans, and we should take that into consideration. She's working with less compared to what Aaliyah Boston's with, and you should take that into consideration. No, get out there and better recruit better around Caitlin. Plain and simple. I don't like that. So I'm going to cut. This is part one. I'm going to cut the episode. I'm going to cut this short. We're going to pick up at Towson Basketball. Then we're going to get to WNBA, and that's going to be it. And then the mock draft. Mock draft 1.0 is done. And then we're going to talk about New York Liberty. Until then, I will see y'all tonight. I'm going to have the episode scheduled to go on 10:30. I promise I'll be on at 10:30. And then we're going to take it from there. But until then, I'm out. I will see y'all in a few hours. Peace out, y'all.
Listen, I'm easy to find. And listen, they can kiss my ass if they don't like it.